Geometry is a very unique topic. It was originated from Pythagoras. We also have the unique founder. His name was Euclid. And what it is known is, or what is said, is that he got together with a group of friends and they all agreed on some basic terms, something that they can all agreed upon, and then they could use to come up with other assumptions and theories. And so these things, we call them, the things that they all agreed upon was undefined terms. Those are things that we can all agree on with no argue. And those three undefined terms was a point. And what a point is, it's a location. If you've ever, used the GPS, and I'm assuming everybody has, you can follow the GPS, and sometimes the GPS will show your location as a little circle or like a dot. And so think of that as the point. A point is a location, tells you where something is. It doesn't have any shape or size, so we're not thinking of this as a circle. We use it and it looks like a circle, but it's just to represent a location. It's really not a shape. And another undefined term was the line. A line is actually made up of points and has no thickness or width. It's just a bunch of different locations, just an extension. So this line PQ, just think of it as a bunch of little dots, stringing together. And the arrows represent that the length is infinite. So both the beginning and the end, well, actually there is no beginning and no end. It just goes on and on forever and ever. And for there to be a line, you have to exactly have at least 2 points. So for there to be a line, we have to have 2 points so we can connect them, right? The last undefined term is the plane. No, it's not something you get on and you fly around, but a plane is more, think of it as not a plane, but a plane, if you will. A flat surface. It's more of a flat surface. And this surface has no beginning and no end. So think of it, we demonstrate it by something that looks like a parallelogram, but in reality, think of it as having many different arrows in all directions, because that's showing that it goes on infinitely in all directions. Not just in one direction like the line, but in all direction. And it's you can think of it in this way. You can think of it as many lines right next to each other, right? And crossing over as well. Okay? And for there to be a plane, we need to have at least 3 points that are not on the same line. So as you can tell, these could look more like a triangle instead of going through one line. You would not be able to draw a line that would go through points B, D, and C at the same time. And there are many different ways of naming these undefined terms. The way that we name a point is with capital letters. We can type the word point or write the word point and then the letter, or we can just have the letter by itself, and those both ways would work. But just to make sure that you understand that we name it by a capital letter. Another way, or one way that we name lines, there's many different ways, but one way is to actually write the word line and then use a lowercase letter that is not on the line, as you can see here. We can use the 2 points on the line to name a line, or we can use the 2 points. This is my favorite because I love symbols. We can write the 2 points on the line and then actually draw the line at the top of the 2 points. The order of the letters doesn't matter, so you can go PQ or QP. So once again, we name a line using 2 points. Okay, We can use capital letters or lowercase, one lowercase letter. Lastly, how do we name a plane? It's kind of similar to lines, except we don't draw a plane on top of the letters, and we have to use at least 3 letters. So we can name, just like we named the line with a lowercase m, we can name this plane with a lowercase, actually this seems to be a capital letter, script letter, because it's kind of slanted, like a slanted letter. Or we could just use a 3 points on the plane. So BCD, and the order once again doesn't matter. So it could be CB, CDB, DCB, etc. So the order of the letters doesn't matter. So down here we have a couple words that we have to understand. Collinear means, when we use this word, it means that we are referring to points that are on the same line. So above here, when we talked about points P and Q, points P and Q are collinear because they're on the same line. If they're non-collinear, well, that means they're not on the same line. Coplanar are points that lie in the same plane. So B, D, and C, those points are coplanar. They're on the same plane. And as you can guess, non-coplanar means they're not on the same plane. So let's practice naming some of these. Remember, geometry is a completely different type of math that you've seen before. It's really about, there's a lot of terminology. It's a language. So let's practice the language now. So here we have a picture where we've got some lines, some points, and a plane. And they want us to name each of the following. They want us to name a line containing point W. Remember, there's many different ways of naming lines, but let's find the line where point W is, and that's the line. Ooh, that's a very big highlight. Let me make it smaller. Maybe that'll be easier. Okay, there's the line that we are wanting to name. And there's many different right answers. So as you can see, it's got a lowercase script n. And I told you that we can name lines from those lowercase script letters. So we can name this line n. Another way that we can name this is using 2 points on this line. I need 2 points. So we can say VW. We can write the word line, VW, or we could go line WV. And we could use the other 2 points. We could say line WX. We could also say line XY. All of those would work, etc., etc. If we wanted to use only symbols to name this line, we could say WX and then draw the line at the top. Remember, order doesn't matter, so I could say XW. When you are drawing and using symbols, you would have to make sure you add those arrows at the end to represent that it goes infinite in both directions. I can use this 2 other letters. Let's use WI. WY. Or YW. And I'm just going to put etc. because there's so many different ways, okay? All right, so now let's do the next one. Let's name this plane containing point X. Well, point X is obviously on this plane here at the center. So this plane that you see that's drawn here contains it. And so there's many different ways of naming planes as well. So let's use let's do our capital script letter here on the corner. It's not a point. If it has a point, it would have a little dot next to it. So P is not a point. And so that's how we can tell the difference between a point and just a letter on the plane. The P doesn't have a little dot next to it. So we can name this, we can actually write out plane P. Another way of naming it is using any 3 points on this plane. We can go ahead and use W. We could use V and X. Those are all on the plane. I could also use Z, Y, X. Remember, order doesn't matter, so let's switch these around. Plane Y, X, Y, Z, X. We could also say plane V, X, W, etc. The order can change. All right. I hope this is clear. See you in the next video.